Indian Premier League has evolved from being just a cricket tournament to a cultural phenomenon, embodying India's deep-seated love for the sport. Beyond cricket, the IPL has transformed into a vibrant platform for fostering camaraderie and networking. It serves as an ideal stage for brands to connect with audiences, expand their reach, and cultivate stronger relationships. Aiming to harness this marketing and branding hub is a brand that has been a household name across the nation, refreshing generations with its iconic beverages since its inception. With a rich history spanning decades, Coca-Cola India continues to captivate consumers with its wide range of beverages. Hello and welcome to JioCinema Brand Spotlight in partnership with Storyboard18. I am your host Delshad Irani, and today I am in conversation with Tish Condeno, Category Director, Sparkling Flavors at Coca-Cola India, and Sukesh Nayak, who is the Chief Creative Officer of Ogilvy. Hello and welcome. It's a pleasure to have you both here, Tish, Sukesh.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
having
us.
us.
So Tish, let me come to you first. Of course, IPL, a massive platform for Coca-Cola as well as a lot of other brands. Let me just directly get into it and ask you, what is your advertising strategy this season? It's a big season. You know, digital, of course, has expanded the platform, IPL, the game, the sport, viewership. What is your ad strategy going into it?
For a brand like Charged, we're still very new, honestly, in the sparkling beverages category. So, our number one priority is to continue to introduce the brand to as many people as possible. And what better platform than IPL? I don't know what is a bigger passion in India than cricket. And to be honest, even I've enjoyed watching IPL matches. The drama is always there and very exciting. So it only makes sense that the viewership would be so high. So it's great that a brand like Charged can be on IPL, be able to reach an even wider footprint of viewers, to be able to continue to introduce itself to the country.
What was the brief for Ogilvy this season for Charge? You know, just tell me give me the one-line brief that you gave the team.
It was a very interesting process partnering with Ogilvy on this one. Um, at the end of the day, the energy category is exploding in India, and there's so many players. So we needed to find a way to establish to Indian youth, especially young adults, what is charged. And when we understood what consumers are looking for, it's not just about the physical energy, but it's important to be mentally alert. Um, so you can't just go zipping around with no purpose. I think it was very important that you put all of that physical energy, direct it into something that was useful and something that will,
Productive.
help you become successful, help you become productive. And so that was essentially the brief. The brief was, how can we create content that talks about charged, and that it's about not just the body being charged, but the mind being charged. And how do you do it in a way that is entertaining and epic, so that teens and young adults would actually enjoy watching this film, and there would be something to discover, each time you watched it.
So, Sukesh, the brief for you was create something entertaining and epic. How tall an ask is that?
I think it's one of those briefs that are just once in a lifetime, and you have to have the opportunity. It comes your way. You have to have the maximum fun with it, because if you don't have fun with it, you will not get anything extraordinary or even attention seeking. And I think Tish said something very nice. The brand is at the introductory stage, and we all know that. And we just have to introduce ourselves to the consumers. And this time, there was a beautiful ladder that was built, which is mind charge, body charge. So I think when you put those two as a building blocks to start off from, it was actually a very fun exercise. The kind of concepts that we discussed on this brief, the kind of concepts we bombed on the brief, the kind of concepts we finally took ahead, and then they got bombed later for some other reasons, because we just didn't feel that it was not, let's say, was it overthought, was it not simple enough. So what we realized was, at the end of the day, we are talking to a whole lot of people who require this category in their life. and we must entertain them in the most magical manner. And then once Amir is on board, it is a joy to work with him
Mm.
because he's the super creative director on everything, and as the world knows, and he's the best collaborator
He's
because
the
he
super
actually
creative director.
yes, because he is the biggest collaborator you can work with because he actually gets into the product, what the product does, and how we should be having a concept out there where he truly enjoys, and all of us must have fun doing it.
Mhm.
And I think he was the costume designer, he was the lyricist, he was everything. I think all in all. And another big person on this project is Advait, who is again Amir's very close confidant and a director who worked on this project. I think we put a great team together, which is us, the Coca-Cola team, and the entire gang of people that worked on this project. Each and every one, believe you me, has added in making this project what it has come out today in front of you. It has been many Diwali nights, and I think the weeks after, weeks before, many concepts which almost became or got executed but didn't. And that's the beauty of a Herculean team effort, I would say, because when you're working on that, as an agenda, that you must have something in this prime time of communication that's going to come across, which
Mhm.
is just should wow you for the sheer audacity of it, the sheer fun of it. And I think we managed to achieve with this particular concept that we had on table. And this is the one that got greenlit by everybody, including
So
Amir.
unanimously, everyone loved this idea.
Yes, this was the
Mhm.
idea that many other ideas were loved. Let me be very candid about it, and went up and then came down the slope as fast as they went up. But this was the idea that was not just loved, but it really went rising, 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 and we added and we kept building onto it, kept building onto it, and till we got so joke amongst us was till the day we don't shoot something, it's not done really. So this is the one that really had everything going for it, and we kind of had a mammoth project shoot on this. It's one
Right.
of the largest I've seen I have done with
It
days
does
and
have,
days.
yeah, it absolutely does have that epic feel. That's
Yep.
for sure. So I think you've checked that box on epic as well as
But
entertaining.
Dilshad, the funny story is actually the thought and the story is so simple. Think of it this way. This category is usually used to tell people to do something better, and this is a story of all ages. There is a young kid who feels maybe he's not he doesn't put all his heart and soul into something that he wants to do, and there is a grandfather who's giving him a typical spiel on life, the how he can do better, and the inspiration is of him being everything and be all of everything in the world there has been. And then the end payoff is the person feeling like, oh, I can take on the world. That's what we wanted. We want anybody to think nothing is impossible. Your brain, when your brain and your body is firing, you can do whatever is impossible.
Hmm.
So, but I feel the joy that we all felt, this is at the end of the day why this concept got made over the others, because it had everything in it. But honestly, it was not ticking the boxes the way it would. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like it was preachy. It didn't seem like it was meant to be, physical or something. It had
Right.
it, and then at the same time, the biggest test that Trish rightly said with everybody was that it must entertain you.
Mm.
Because if it doesn't entertain you, nobody will watch you. So I think it just kind of had it all, and then which is why this is the one that just went up the ladder and went going up, 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 and further up, and didn't
All the
come
way to
slide.
the moon.
Yep, didn't come
Absolutely.
down.
Tish, for you, for instance, of course, Coca-Cola has so many brands, and Charged, as you mentioned, is in this sort of initial stages of its, life in India. What Sukesh said about it having to be entertaining, how is that different perhaps from any other season? With the IPL, for instance, you have to have that entertainment value. Like you mentioned, the platform, the sport, the tournament itself is just so entertaining and full of drama. Your ad has to match up to it, right? It's our version of the Super Bowl, if you can call it that. So give me a little bit about your insight as the brand marketer here. How important is dialing up that entertainment quotient, especially during this time?
It was incredibly important. I think first is that, um, you know, teens and young adults today are bombarded with just incredible amount of content on their own social media feed. And so to have something that cuts through and sticks requires a certain magic in the creativity. And when you look at the amazing amount of ads also that come on IPL, they're all very entertaining. And so the benchmark has been set. The hurdle is high. And it was very important for us to. There was one word that Sukesh said, which is audacity. I think that's the spirit with which we went into this work. Like, if the whole insight is you want that young man who is at that point in his life where he's dreaming big. And, we just basically capture that spirit in how we work. Is this ad, does that ad capture the feeling of this, you dreaming big? And that was the whole point. And throughout the process, and Sukesh said, no, many great ideas came about. But this is the one idea where every time we came back to it, we all felt like, oh, this is big. It
So,
speaks to the feeling of grandness.
which brings me to the idea of bringing back Amir Khan and Darshil after 17 years. How did that happen?
One thing very interesting, Dilshad, is the entire project had from Team Coke. Let's have a lot of fun, and if we have fun, then we will get the idea that is supposed to be large. So I don't think the approach was, including Amir, by the way. When I say Amir and I have worked on a lot of things in the past, and it's always been it's a it's a mad riot. It's like it's some energy running through everything and every process of it. So I think the answer to your question is linked to that. Amir was, of course, on board as Team Coca-Cola had pulled him in, and he was part of the process of ideas and everything, which is, we went to him, we spoke about it and what we didn't work. Something that we loved maybe didn't, was not there. Something that he liked maybe was not. So it was a collaborative, a lot of, building process on everything. When it came to casting and when we had this story in mind, this idea actually came from the director first, and of course, Abir and Advait both together were thinking about this, and they both have worked. Advait was on the project when the movie was made, working with Amir. Amir, of course, and so it was a very interesting conversation. And honestly, when the idea was shared or discussed in the room with all of us there, Amir said, "This is a fantastic idea. Let's do it." And of course, Coca-Cola also said the same thing. It's a great idea because many people wouldn't recognize him, but some who did would be very nice. But more than anything else, there's a great story to be told of a kid who grew up, right? And this kid's reaction with Amir and a great act, and the movie is, of course, epic in its own ways. So sometimes we feel amazing that how people make the connection. And when the ad came out, many people did make that connection, which is a good thing. But again,
Organically making that
yeah,
connection,
organically,
and also
yeah,
the chemistry is there, right? You have that chemistry just playing out on the screen in front of you.
yeah, absolutely. And and like this, I think it's been one of my I would say backbreaking, but a phenomenal backbreaking exercise because we all have loved what we did on this entire thing over the months that have gone into it. And it's been one of those things that you really want to do and enjoy doing it, I think. So I think that's another, the number of days and Amir being like, oh, let's shoot more. I want to do all of them. In fact, I want to do more than this also. If he had his way, he would have done probably 7, 8 more situations in the whole thing. And that's how the business it was, right? So you have a brand ambassador who's really like, wanting to be an actor, who just wants to like, guys, we must do it to the perfection, right? Entire look, the get up. That's what I said. Now, he's been Advait, him, the entire Avan, everyone. I can name gazillion people on this, which are on the team of, this entire project. And they all have been a joy because everybody gave the best that one could. And hope that people enjoy what they see when it's created, and I hope that what we have created people do enjoy, and without sounding preachy, without sounding too heavy.
Yes.
It's just fun. And that's how the Coke Team Coke brief was. That starting point was, don't do something grand for the sake of being grand, but it should be believable, it should be extraordinary, not believable also at the same time. What we want to leave behind, we have a differentiator today which we are talking about, that your body cannot do anything if your mind is not up to it. So a combination of both makes you do the impossible. So that's what you got to land and just go for it.
How much charge was consumed on sets, given, like you mentioned, the days and nights that you all were working, many Diwalis? How many bottles of charge was consumed?
But I presume lots because it was a Delshad, it was a ride, okay, and it was a for me personally it was a ride of a lifetime, because one of the things that you do, that you look back maybe 5 years down the line and you'll say, wow, we had a great time doing it. It's one of those projects for me, very special. But I would be not be stepping out my line if I say everybody else on it. you had to stretch yourself to make this happen in the time frame that you have for an ad campaign shoot. The team was very generous. Coca-Cola, Amir, everybody, really everybody stretched. But even then, it is got a time limit to it, because we all know it's a number of days that you have to produce it and produce everything around it. So, but everybody went over and beyond, and that's how we managed to make this happen. If Amir had his way, I think we would have 7 or 8 looks more into this. I'm telling you, but.
Wow.
Possibly we
Packing in.
could, maybe part two, maybe part three. I don't know.
Tish, give me some of the highlights for you from this campaign, the making of this campaign, right from ideation to then seeing the final output. And it's a real sort of war cry, battle cry for the youth, right? It sounds like that and gets stuck in your head. Mind charge, body charge. It's almost like a chant. So, I mean, what are you thinking? What are some of the highlights, some memorable moments for you from the making of the campaign, and where do you see it going?
So there were many highlights in making this campaign. I think, a few of them would be just the brainstorming back and forth session with Ogilvy, with Amir, with Advait, about which of the many, many scenarios we would go with. And
Which was your
imagining
favorite scenario?
hands down the caveman, hands down. um I remember being told, and we would tell this story to each other in the team over calls, over WhatsApp videos, and I remember always being entertained and laughing every time, just how amazing that vision was of a guy becoming a caveman, and then to see that come into reality with the Amir Khan, like the level of detail and care he took to get that look right, was very inspiring. And the effort that came, the team coming together, because it, like Sukesh said, there is deadlines to this thing, and so everyone had to come together quickly to make it happen. So finally seeing it on screen with the saber-toothed tiger was very thrilling. So it's been an amazing experience.
Before we sign off, Tish, and I'll ask both Tish and Sukesh this. What are your thoughts on leveraging the first 6 overs of the first game, and how do you think that will help your brand?
I think we were very lucky to work with Geo on this particular asset, Brand Spotlight. I think, like I said, our goal is to introduce the brand to as many people as possible, and to have a wonderful platform where you reach 100 million people immediately. Um, it sets such a great base for the campaign as it moves forward. So it was a wonderful opportunity to partner with Geo on this one.
Sukesh, your thoughts?
If I get to introduce myself first, I think I have a head start. And if my introduction is good, then I have a better chance for you to remember me. So I think if I get to use the first 6 overs, I introduced myself first. And I think we have something to introduce ourselves with, something which will probably stick. So if both kind of connect, it's a great opportunity. So anyone who goes first, you better have something amazing up your sleeve, and whoever goes in here in the future also, it's a phenomenal head start. It's like running a race with giving you a lead, saying, okay, you got to get 10 people before anybody else. So it's wonderful. And again, I see an idea in this. Maybe I want to use it better for something next year. I think it's a great opportunity if you're going to give me 6 overs before anybody else. So why not? So it's a good
Absolutely.
opportunity, I think. It's a
And
great
you need to
opportunity.
have and you need to have something epic when you do that, right? Well,
Absolutely, because your introduction is so critical. It could be emotional, it could be fun, it could be anything. I don't know. It could be, world game changing. I don't know, whatever it is. But it must be something that you should be at least be recalled for the rest of the overs that are gonna come. And that's what really makes a difference, I think.
Tish, did you want to add something to that? I think you wanted to say
No,
something.
I was gonna say that I think everyone expects such a high level of excitement on those first 6 overs, and so the content that comes during the breaks has to match that excitement. So people are excitedly waiting to watch the match, and so we must offer content that
Has
does
to match
deliver to
up.
this. Yes, it
Absolutely.
has to match up. So, like Sukesh said, that's the time for epic pieces of content to come on screen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. That was an enriching conversation that really helps gauge, the potential of the IPL, of course, and why is it such a massive marketing hub for a lot of brands, iconic brands. Thank you for joining us today, Sukesh. This was lovely chatting with you. And stay tuned for more such engaging discussions and brand spotlights on JioCinema in partnership with Storyboard18. Thank you.